Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Richard, and Richard's experience occurred in 1985 and was documented on May 15th of 2018, open quote. At the time my experience happened, I had been diagnosed with heart trouble. One day, when I was standing in the living room, I started not feeling well and collapsed on the floor. I was alone in my apartment. While unconscious, I found myself in an empty space. Then I started watching my whole life being reviewed in front of me. The emphasis seemed to be on good and bad events. After the presentation ended, I was asked one question: on which side are you? And I had to choose between the good or the bad side. At that moment, there was no chance to manipulate the answer. You had to tell the truth. It felt like my soul answered this question. I answered, I love God with all of me. Then I sent these feelings of love to our Creator. After a moment, my soul received love, capital L, from the other side, exclamation mark. It was so huge that if God's love were the ocean, my love would have been one drop of water. It felt like if I were to have moved any closer to that love, it would have absorbed me. This experience was a good lesson for me. I can say now that I know that our Creator is real. I no longer have any doubts. I have also experienced other mysterious events. For example, I saw my own birth. I was born in a hospital, and I saw a doctor pulling me out of my mom's body. At that moment, I was holding the cord connecting me to my mom and was fully conscious of what I was doing. As I was being born, I was thinking about what was happening. With time, I started seeing people that had left this dimension, and sometimes they would ask me to pass messages to their relatives. It is interesting to know that very first time the spirit of a friend of mine asked me to pass a message to her family, I didn't do it. Instead, I asked somebody else to do it, and they didn't do it, although I did not realize it until later. What happened was that a few days later, my friend's spirit showed up in front of me again while I was sitting in my apartment. As she was looking at me and I was looking back at her, I understood that her message had not been passed to her family. So I did it the very next day, and from that time on, I have never hesitated to follow through with the request from a spirit. However, this contact with spirits comes at a price. Negative energy used to attack me from time to time. But now I can see them coming, and whenever I do, they get paralyzed. It is a nice feeling to bring fear to fear itself. Another reason for the attacks might be that I am able to heal some people by sending them positive energy. When that is going on, I feel like many needles are touching my hands. Distance doesn't exist. Sometimes it has been shown to me that an ill person is going to die, even though the doctors have said that the person is going to be okay. In one example, I was shown how sickness spreads within a human body. Also, one time I saw a sign that turned out to be an indication that a person was going to commit suicide in a few days. This is what the message looked like to me. My wife, myself, and another couple were sitting at a table, and all of a sudden the head of our lady friend seemed to disappear. In place of her head, I saw a human skull. I turned my head away and looked back at the lady, and I saw the same thing again, lasting a few more seconds. I kept trying to figure out what this might mean. In a few days, I found out. This lady's cousin had hanged himself in Poland. Sometimes, although we may know what is going to happen, we cannot change somebody's destiny. End quote. Richard, you sound like you have an interesting life there, and your choice there, I thought, was in your NDE when you had your life review, and you mentioned that your soul made the choice. I thought that was pretty cool. There are some questions here. Let me see if there's any with. There's a couple with little longer answers. Question, have your religious practice... Well, what is your religion prior to your experience? Answer, Christian Catholic. Question, have your religious practice changed as your experience? Answer, yes. I believe that the most important is to be a true human. Those are all caps. All religions are trying to tell us that and trying to get us in the same direction. Question, what is your religion now? Answer, other or several faiths. I believe that all religions that show respect to all humanity are right. It is just different roads to the same point. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer, experience was both consistent and inconsistent. The experience showed me that we are all the same in the eyes of our Creator, and what counts is not in what we believe, but who we really are in our essence. Question, did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, yes. I know that Creator exists. With beliefs, we always have some doubts, but now I know for sure. Question, did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence or hear an unidentifiable voice? Answer, I heard a voice. It was a soft man's voice. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about universal connection or oneness? Answer, yes. I felt like a drop of water coming to the ocean. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about the existence of God? Answer, yes. I felt the presence that sent me an incredible feeling of love and at the same time treated me equally and not as somebody of lower class. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about love? Yes. Answer, yes. Unconditional love that words cannot describe. Question, what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer, moderate changes. At this time, all I really care is that we are all God's creations, and I am trying to help others as much as I can. Question, have your relationships changed specifically because of your experience? Answer, yes. I don't judge people anymore in general. We don't really know what kind of problems the other person has to go through. Question, was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer, no. Question, how accurately do you remember it as compared to other life events around the same time? More accurately. This experience is imprinted in my mind forever. Question, do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other special gifts after your experience that you did not have before? Answer, yes. Connecting to spirits, but most of the time it is them who contact me. I had contact with extraterrestrials who were telling me about the universe and God. I have seen a couple of UFOs. We don't hear a whole lot of UFO stuff in the NDEs necessarily. It's interesting. And also interesting was the negative energy that Richard talked about. We don't really hear a lot about that either. Question, what do you believe about the reality of your experience? Answer, it's definitely real. For a number of days, I was in a kind of shock and was trying to find the meaning of this experience. The material world is just the beginning of our journey. Question, is there anything else you would like to add about your experience? Answer, I think that the world would be a much better place if everyone went through this experience. Probably right about that, Richard. End quote, end questions. It's interesting that we don't, right? I mean, isn't that the most interesting part? I mean, we're down here, and why wouldn't we get that experience so we can be better people down here? I don't know. Certainly you would be if you went through that. But I think that we purposely don't allow ourselves to do that. That's just opinion. Richard, thank you for your experience and for documenting that and sharing it with us. I thought it was awesome. And thank you out there for listening. I hope you have a great day.